Over the last several months, I've gotten a whole bunch of requests to create a video about role-playing Strahd von Zarovich. Now, this seemed like a really fun idea and a great video to create. I love doing accents and voices during my game, and I figured it'd be really fun to share with you guys. Now, Strahd's just one character. That's not a whole lot of video content, so I figured I'd do a whole bunch of other voices across Barovia and give that to you guys as inspiration. Before we dive into individual character accents, I want to talk about how I broke Barovia up into individual regions, at least as far as the accents are concerned. So for me, Barovia is split into three distinct accent regions. On the eastern side, we have the standard Barovian accent. Now, for me, this is a Romanian accent, Bulgarian, kind of. It originates in the back of the throat, and it sounds kind of like this. It's what you would imagine from a gypsy or, again, somebody from Transylvania. Now, all of the people in the village of Barovia sound a lot like this, with various differences in pitch and tone and mannerisms. So, for example, Father Donovich sounds much like this, and Ismak the Lesser sounds like this. He's very quiet and reserved and soft-spoken. So, lots of variation and ways you can play with that Barovian/Romanian accent there. In the middle of Barovia, we have the town of Vallaki. Now, Vallaki is a much more cosmopolitan area, so I wanted to give it a much more cosmopolitan accent. I personally chose a London/Cockney accent for most of its inhabitants. There are some outliers like the Baron and Lady Fiona that have their own more posh accents. But for the most part, you find the standard Cockney accent floating around the streets of Vallaki. And these are working class people. They're dirty. They are getting their hands in their work, and they don't take any form of crap from anybody, especially those adventuring types that come running around their streets every now and then. So that's the middle of Barovia and the general Wallachian accent. On the western end of Barovia, you have not only Kresk, but you also have the Wizard of Wines down below it to the south. I gave them two individual accents. So for Kresk, I gave them kind of a flat American accent inspired by more of a Quakerish sort of feel. Kresk is a very insular and self-reliant community, much like the Quakers here in America. So they speak with a much more pulled-in and reserved accent, and you can tell that they rely on one another and they don't accept outsiders very quickly. They want to keep to themselves and roll with the punches, and they just want the adventurers to go away. Now, on the other hand, to the south in Wizard of Wines, I have the Martikovs speaking with a Scottish accent. Now, this is an accent that's shared across all Martikovs, even the ones in Vallaki. So, in any instance where a player runs into a Keeper of the Feather or Martikov, they know who they're speaking with. The other accent that I use across Barovia is for the Vistani. The Vistani are inspired by Romanian gypsies, but I can't give them a Romanian accent. I've already used that for the village of Barovia. So instead, what I gave them was an Irish accent. This is an accent that's very musical. It's got a lot of ups and downs and variations in pitch throughout its sentences. So I felt that it lent itself to the musical and whimsical nature of the Vistani. So that's what I did across Barovia for all Vistani. Now, if my players encounter somebody that's speaking with an Irish accent, they know exactly who they're talking to and where they're from and what relations they have to everyone else in Barovia. Now, of course, those are just the general accents that I use across the land. Individual characters, of course, exist in each one of those locations, and they each deserve their own memorable and distinctive voice. So let's go over some of the individual characters now. In the village of Barovia, there is Ismak the Lesser Kolyanovich. He's, as I said before, soft-spoken. This is why people call him the Lesser. Because of his mannerisms, they don't think that he can meet the expectations put upon him by his father's legacy. So he struggles with that quite a bit. It hurts his confidence. But within Ismark is a strength that is silent and not often called upon. Whenever his sister is in danger, Ismark can rally that strength to himself and become the warrior that he needs to be. Also within the village of Barovia is Father Donovich. This is a heavy-set man who does not get out of his church very often, so he gets out of breath very easily, just speaking in sentences, for example. His health is probably not the best, and especially his mental state is wavering, given his son's current return, but you know nothing about that. Please don't hurt my son. He's a good boy. He never hurt anyone, I swear. Please don't hurt my Doru. Moving further to the east, we have Madame Eva at Zarpool. She's an old Vistana who, of course, is happy to tell you your future. She's the oldest living creature in Barovia and second to Strahd himself. And she is unscrupulous in her means, although her aims are noble. She has no qualms about throwing adventuring party after adventuring party against the rock that is Strahd's will. Next up is one of my personal favorites, Vargas Valakovich of Valaki. This is a lockjaw accent that you'll find in Gilligan's Island, most notably, although it is even further exaggerated from Mr. Howell's implementation of it. You jut the jaw forward and keep the lips very rigid during speaking. This is it conveys power and a sense of I'm better than you. Remember, all will be well. Next up, within the same town, we have Rudolf van Richten, Doctor, if you please. You see, I've been tracking Strahd von Zarovich for many years now, and I've arrived in Barovia only recently. I see that you're an adventuring party. Your services may be of some use to me. You see, in tracking a monster, one always needs proper bait. Now, Rudolf van Richten, he's kind of inspired by Hannibal Lecter in his delivery. He's also very condescending. He knows that he's the smartest man in the room, and he's not afraid to show it. Now, he's got an alter ego, Rictavio. That's his disguise, this carnival master from another land. When doing the voices for these two, I had to be careful to maintain a constant through line with the voice of Van Richten just basically turned up to 11. So, whereas Rudolf van Richten is like, let me put on my hat of disguise. And then he transforms into Rictavio, this bombastic carnival master that wants to show you a magic trick. Rounding out the Wallachian accents is Fiona Wachter. This is a much more prim and proper accent from a British perspective. Now, Fiona is a noble, and she wants you to know it. She does not speak like the common rabble, and she does not speak like that beast, Vargas. She wants to impress you with her neat and tidy home, despite its broken exterior. Inside it is delightful, and she will ply you with tea and crumpets while she tries to convince you to commit an assassination against Isaac. Next up is Esmerelda. Now, she's of Estonia, so she speaks with an Irish accent, but it's got a bit more of a lilt to it. And it's less in terms of the difference in the accent, but how she behaves. For me, Esmeralda's a fast talker, and she's very foul-mouthed. She curses at various points in her sentences, and I'm not going to do that now because that's not that kind of video, but she drops the occasional F-bomb here and there. She doesn't take any crap from players. She will call out your stupidity if she thinks your plan is stupid. So be sure to, get that energy with Esmeralda. She's a monster hunter. She's going after it, and she doesn't take any crap. Over in Kresk, we have the Abbot. This
He is a being that is absolutely alien in his thought processes and moral compass. He is not accustomed to speaking. He's been in Barovia for hundreds of years now, but he's been alive for millennia more. The speech patterns of humans are foreign to him. He's much more used to communicating in telepathy and emotions. So be sure to ratchet up the voice and the strangeness and put pauses in odd locations.
Deep within the Amber Temple, you have the Lich Exethanter. He's been dead for who knows how long, so he must sound ancient. The air does not want to leave his decrepit lungs. Do you know me?
Last but not least, we have Strahd von Zarovich himself. Last but not least, we have Strahd von Zarovich himself. This is a Romanian accent that is formed deeper within the throat, almost within the chest, giving it a much more resonant and noble feel. He has to feel like a general, speak with authority. He is, after all, the land. So those are my voices of Barovia. Now, in addition to what I've recorded here, I have a write-up of various backgrounds and motivations that expand on these characters and other ones that you haven't seen here. So you can get that by becoming a patron of our channel. You can get this video write-up and all of the other video write-ups by pledging at a minimum $1. That's a great deal. All of the guide videos have write-ups created for them, and they're beautifully typesetted, printable, and they're yours to keep forever. So go ahead, go check it out, help support the channel. We really appreciate all of your support. And if you don't want to do that, that's perfectly fine. We're happy to see you come back again and again here on YouTube.